This is not what it looks like, I swear. So, what I was doing was I was actually filing down the outside diameter of this inner lip on the pump, because as it was not actually fitting in its hole, if you like. And then what happened was I filed it down correctly, and now it fits nicely. And I was just about to put it where it belongs, but then I discovered that the impellers are actually getting into the fight with the housing, and I don't know if the camera tell, but I actually had to file pretty much the tips of every single one of them, and sometimes even the leading edges and whatnot. So now everything fits. Now everything is in accord with each other. But it took me a while to figure out, because when I filed the lip down to the correct diameter, or should I say the fitting diameter, I still got a little bit of a wobbly thing, like there was like something hitting, and I couldn't figure out what it exactly was, because of course I was hyper focused on the lip, and at one point I tried to basically test the fit, and I was rotating the pump as I was trying to get it as close to the housing as possible, and I realized that actually it was impeller that was touching somewhere around the inner surface of the housing, was actually pushing on the pump and making it wibble wobble. So as I was turning it around, the wibble wobble was kind of following the impeller, so that kind of gave me a clue. So that was an easy fix, relatively easy fix with the file. So as of right now, I believe I do have the pump that fits. I'm still concerned and still miffed, because again, I don't know if this is actually a good quality pump or not, but since this is the only one I have, this is the only one that goes in. So let's try that. Well, this is a lesson in stupidity. So I put what you want to call it, the gasket sealer on, a beautiful bead all around, snug it up, waited until it was all squeezed out per instructions, waited an hour, snug it on. Now it's nice and snug, but the problem is, correct, I cannot turn the pump over, which means that I didn't file down the impellers correctly, which means that what I should have done is snug the pump in, then check it, and then do the sealant. Now it's we're gonna just do another step back. Good lord with this project. And of course nothing would go easy, because one of the threads were galled up with the sealant. I broke off the bolt. Yep. So after I broke that bolt, I decided to try to fix it up. So first I tried to do the left hand tap drill, whatever it's called, I don't even know. Anyway, it was like $70 in tools I bought, so yeah, light tappy tap, and that didn't work, so I decided to heat it up like a lot, and then try to do another attempt with that, tappy tap. Try to do that again. That didn't work at all, so I freaking gave up, and I decided to just drill all the way through, and that's me cleaning it up. Yay! So the never-ending saga of the side quests with this thing continues. So I actually mounted the AC and the alternator back where it's supposed to be, and for the love of me, I couldn't figure out why the geometry wasn't working. Then I realized that in order to adjust the belt that rides from the crankshaft, you need to have these guys loose in order to pivot correctly. This is frozen solid, so I soaked it with a PB Blast, and I'm gonna wait. And in the meantime, I also realized that the belt that, God almighty, these are the belts that are actually came from the frozen engine. This is the belt that came from that engine, so they're pretty much identical. And this is the new belt that Rock Auto sent me as a replacement for this one. So it's not quite the same. It's definitely shorter, but this is the belt that I got as a replacement for the alternator one. Not even close. Yeah, thanks for playing, but not even close. Yeah, so I still need to go to the store, I guess, tonight. I mean, I could order them. Thankfully, these are still in good enough shape that you can actually read them. But I just want to get this somewhat done. And when I was trying to change the tensioner bearing for the timing belt tensioner, of course, that couldn't go smoothly. It actually broke in my hand. I don't know how. Luckily, I had a replacement that was from the Fiat X19, which was 5mm smaller, but it actually worked. At least I hope it worked. So I installed it, snug everything on, put the new belts on, it looked beautifully, and I was ready to actually finally install the engine in the Yugo. Lordy. However, that didn't go well as well. So, setbacks after setbacks. So I am very close of actually putting these two guys together, and then I was actually putting the hardware together to get the engine in, and then when I realized that I have a problem, because as you can tell, this is the bolt that holds the engine on the driver's side. Yeah, I used the Agadaga gun, and of course it's all galled up on both sides. So the problem I have is this bolt it will be kind of expensive to find, but it's doable. But this thing is welded together. It's kind of, it's very specific for that engine, and I was kind of like, oh well, I guess I'm gonna have to cobble something to get together. And I was on my way to hardware store to try to find this particular piece when I had a eureka moment, and I realized that I had the old Yugo part bin that in some of one of these boxes I might have a bolt for that, and lo and behold, after digging through all those, hallelujah, the black Yugo actually gave me some money back, and also, which is more important, actually gave me the nut portion back. So close and yet so far away. Ugh. This little thing is really, really giving me, oh man, PTSD. Okay, so yes, the engine is in place, but it's not hooked up yet. I'm still missing the front suspension. The thing is, yeah, anyway. So where I am right now, this is been sitting like this for a week because I had to walk away. What happened is I finally got the engine in place, lowered the chassis to the close enough, and I started to lift the engine up, and I was like, man, this is home run. This is, I need, 5 seconds to lift the engine in place, 3 screws, 1 here, 2 over there, bam, bam, bam. No. So the problem was I was using cherry picker, which is a must for a situation like this. And the problem is the way engine was secured was the junker. They actually secured it like that. Is they have a seat belt which works amazingly well, and they had it on the engine mount on one end and on the engine mount on the other end, which is, I was perfectly fine with that. I didn't have any problem with that. However, the problem was once I started lifting the engine, those mounts were actually make the engine kind of do a little bit of a twist and basically making it kind of wampus. And the problem is that thing was basically getting jammed up to the firewall, and then the rest of the stuff, like the starter was starting to get jammed against the against this portion here, and it was just impossible to actually get it into the place. Plus, you have to at one point you have to tilt the engine up to make it mount on that side, and basically kind of just lift it up in this little motion like that. On a carburetor engine with no AC, not a problem whatsoever. This thing has so many doodads and nicks and whatnots that they're just making it really, really impossible to do. Initially, what they're trying to do is do it with the harness in place, so I can compare the harnesses and see what I have and what I don't have. That particular thing caused so much problems because the existing harness from the engine was actually being making it impossible to actually lift up, especially from the back. Yeah, I mean, harness was actually being too much in the way for me to actually lift the engine in place. That will give you an idea how tight the space is, especially in the back. And it's still very tight. I still don't know if I can actually do it because remember I had to adjust the alternator with a different belt and to make it run. So basically, I think the problem is now alternator sticks a little bit too far into the firewall. I'm not quite sure that I'll be able to actually mount it that way. Stay tuned, of course. The last problem I have is I basically had to take the cherry picker off and use the jacks to prop the engine up, and I was so close that I actually got the engine in place. I mean, it's pretty much the way it's supposed to be, but as you can see, the strap that I'm using to lift the engine up isn't making the engine mount bracket, whatever this thing is called, is basically it's twisting on itself, and it's, as you can tell, it's not lining up correctly. So at that point I was like, man, I just need 5 minutes to reposition the jack, and I was like, that 5 minutes is going to protract into 3 days, and I was already having issues with my blood pressure with this thing. So I walked away in fear of breaking something on purpose. So back again at it. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna prop the engine from the bottom with the jacks, and take the strap off and try to mount the engine in correct place, and of course get that engine mount bolt in place. Oh, lovely! I'm sure this is healthy. The silver stuff. So yeah, so that is the plan for today. At this point, I stopped planning. I mean, this was supposed to be done 4 months ago, and yet it's still here. But it is what it is. You know, it's a project, and projects go like that. Alrighty, let's move on. So I think I found the reason why I have such a hard time locate this engine correctly. And I kind of don't know what to do. I'm kind of stuck. So here I am right now. On the passenger side, this is pretty much bang on. I just need to turn this around and locate the bolts. That should be fine. That is not an issue too much. On the other side, the engine is almost bang on. You cannot see the hole, but basically the engine needs to come up my way, maybe quarter of an inch, and that should be it. But the problem is, I realized when I was trying to, you know, float the engine up to kind of just move it a little bit, I realized that I'm lifting the whole car up on both ends, and I couldn't figure out why is that happening, because I couldn't find any of the snag points. There is no snag points on the corners that the engine is snagging on and lifting the whole car up, until I saw that the third cross member that basically goes underneath the engine and goes from this locator point here to the locator point that's underneath the firewall right there.
That sucker is actually jammed on quite nicely, but the problem is, I don't know, can you tell? Right now it's kind of crooked, so it's not lined up correctly, but I don't know, can you tell? Those holes are about almost an inch apart. So they're basically pushing the engine, if you like, too much. So that cross member needs to go that way. A good, in an SS engine, needs to go that way a good inch. And I don't know how to figure that out, unless the engine is still, unless the engine is still turned. So basically, it's pushing that. That's it. Okay. Alrighty. Let's let's try that. I don't know. I'm really baffled with this car. It might be that I had the cross member that the car is set up for the cross member for the automatic still yet, which I do have it in that engine over there, which should work. So worst comes to worst, I can swap them. But the problem is, in order to get there, in order to use the cherry picker to get there, I need to get the car out. I cannot get the car out until the engine is in. Oh, this car. The engine is in. However, it needs to, I'm not gonna say it needs to come out, but man, with this car, it's like every step forward is 3 steps back, 7 steps to the left and whatnot. Let me show you. So, as I said before, I managed to locate the passenger's engine mount. Then I got busy because the engine was leaning towards the back. I installed the back cross member mount. Then I installed the front one. And by definition, if you have 3 engine mounts located, the 4th one should be automatically put in place. And I already put a bolt in, and then I realized that we're about a mile off. I mean, height-wise and location-wise, that's the bolt that should be touching that hole right there. And A, it's not located correctly. B, it's about, I'm gonna say, at least an inch too low. And then when I start looking around, I'm gonna try to do this as best I can. You can actually tell the engine is not sitting quite straight. It's the driver's side is actually a little bit more tilted this way, which makes sense because it needs to go that way about 2 inches. So my incorrect theory at the beginning that the motor mount that's a cross member is incorrect for this engine looks like it's gonna be correct. So looks like I'm gonna be digging it from that engine over there and hope and pray that's gonna be it. Yeah, I'm having fun, people. Good Lord. So, last time we were here, I had a problem with motor mount on a driver's side, and the engine was not driving with all the stuff that it was in. It was kind of jammed. So what I did was I kind of basically pulled the engine out again to compare the stuff that I have, and lo and behold, the lining of the for the longitudinal axis, lining of the motor mounts is actually not that far off. However, the problem is the motor mount is on a different spot. So this is the same view. Yep, this is the same view as, oh wait, I'm on the other line. Okay, there we go. So this is the engine bay of the regular Yugo, and as you can tell, first of all, you have 3 spots, with the center one being the one that's actually lined up for the spot to go to the center of the thing. Mine only has 2 because, as you can tell, the whole
I guess access points is actually moved forward that side, so there is no room for the third hole, if you like. So basically the whole mounting point is actually moved towards the firewall about inch or so. And one of the friends from the Facebook group actually verified that for me. So we are about yay off that way motor mount wise, which presents me a problem with what to do basically, because right now I have the engine actually lined up somewhat pretty much perfect. It's still a little bit cattywampus, but it's pretty much more or less the way it should be. So just need maybe a couple of inches here and there. So everything is right now in its place because I'm ready to mock things up. But yeah, as you can tell, we are still battling with about inch difference in height and about 2 inches in side mounts as well. I also had I was questioning about, are the longitude, the transverse motor mounts, are they actually the same? So I yanked both of them off. Let's see, focus. So this one is the original one from the automatic. This is the one from the engine that's currently in the car. As you can tell, they're identical. There are just a couple of things. I mean, this one has mounting points for the shield, but they're pretty much the same. So I'm gonna go with this one because, not because this one is grimy or it doesn't really matter, they're all the same, but the problem is the oil that's actually leaking from the current engine, which is another question, is actually has ate the rubber bushing. It kind of squeezed out. It looks very ooey and gooey. So I'm gonna try with this one that looks far better, and plus it's cleaner. So I'm gonna try to mount that after I install the engine correctly in its place and see how far that is gonna get me, because again, I don't know if I'll be able to actually put it back in and see how far that's gonna get me. So as of right now, the plan is to mock the cardboard template so I can machine something, meaning cobble something together from some spare iron that I have, and see how far that's gonna get me. Always side quests. Oof. So I reorganized things a little bit. Now I got the engine height in the correct way. I just need to put the transmission part a little bit towards the end, and then I realized that I have made a mistake. Remember how I had to reorganize the accessory drive? So basically I had to toss in a new belt just to drive the alternator. Yeah, that it's coming to bite me in the butt, because as I'm trying to move the engine forward, I don't know, can you tell, but you cannot tell, but it's the alternator is actually hitting the this passenger airbox suction thingy. Oh, the only way to reorganize that is to yank the engine out all over again. Oh my god. Oh, this car. So yeah, I got the engine out again. The only good thing about this whole situation is that I got so good about organizing myself and stuff around that now I can actually get the engine out within a day. No, I'm kidding. Maybe 15 minutes when everything is lined up, which is compared to days before. Now this is actually much different. So here is the crux of the problem, if you like. You can kind of see where the rubbing occurred, and you can probably you can probably see also the witness mark on that side as well, and also a pretty big one. There is a nest or some kind, but yeah, there is also a pretty big one here and here. So yeah,
things need to be reorganized. Alrighty, let's get on it. So here's the problem that I'm having right now. I need to inch this all the way in to gain that maybe half an inch. The problem is this belt is already kind of loosey-goose. That's already loose. So that alternator actually should be even tighter. I don't know how to overcome this situation. Smaller belt maybe? We'll see. So I dismantled the AC and the alternator, sorry, the AC compressor and the alternator. And this is kind of, you know, we're already talking desperation. Basically, I am ready to completely delete the AC in order to gain enough clearance. But the problem is, even if I actually delete the AC, here's the problem I have. I do not have a correct bracket to actually install this thing, because this was relying on the AC bracket, which was a cobble job for the US market to buy probably the which is gonna basically rob me of my you know, pivot point. Or actually no, the pivot point is gonna be there, but rob me of the adjusting point. And the problem with this, my goodness, hold this. The problem with this particular one, yes, that should be coming off because it's kind of having issues here with the clearance. But if you remember, this is the bolt that gave me so much problems with the water pump, and in essence I really don't want to disturb it. Really don't want to disturb it. I don't know what to do now. Yay. You want to laugh at my misfortune? Now it's time to laugh at my misfortune. Okay, so I installed the alternator. It's kind of lookish, okayish type deal. And then I remembered that the junkyard Yugo has no AC, so ergo the bracket should be a little bit different and it should fit. And lo and behold, yes. So I went to trouble of actually removing the bracket from that Yugo, and it actually kind of mounts somewhere like so. So actually that, just like that. So actually that would fit. So I was like, oh, dang, that would solve my problem so well. And I started to unscrew the offending thing, and then I realized, wait a minute, let me just double check if the screw will fit. And lo and behold, I don't know, we'll be able to tell, this thing is not tapped. This thing is not tapped at all. This has not been machined to receive, the screw whatsoever. There is still a chunk of aluminum in there preventing me to actually bolt my newly found used bracket that will actually solve my problem. I can't even with this car. I think I'm gonna walk away. My blood pressure is a little bit too high right now. Oh, so the current situation is I'm trying to take this bracket off. Actually, I want to use that one to kind of makeshift a bracket that might reach on the other end. But the problem is, I had this when I was installing the other AC from the other engine here. This bolt is seized, and I even used the agadaga gun. And what happened is, now it's starting to round off, of course. And I have never had this happen before, that the actual, not the tool itself, but the actual socket was getting so hot that I couldn't touch it. I have never seen that, and nothing happened. So I'm gonna up the ante with a danger wheel, and since there's a lot of flammables here, I'm gonna see what I can set on fire, and go from there. Yes, the fun continues. a lesser of a man would long time quit. So I was going to install a new CD drive, CD on the good old spark wheel, and because this one is good, but see, it's kind of on the trunky side, and I kind of need a precision machinery, which this very much is. But I learned something today. I have a 4-inch grinder and not a 5-inch. Oh. All right. And here's the results. Jeez, focus, come on. Yeah, that would, no chance that this thing would come on. No, whatsoever. And yes, that is a bolt, because on the automatic engine, yeah, that came out very nicely. So yeah, without the sparky wheel, nothing will happen. However, the problem is, you can see how welded shut with rust that thing is. So I might have to cut the other end as well, just to get the stuff that I need. Crazy. Alrighty, so this side quest has been completed. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, etc. I deleted the AC, and that was a bear. I ended up not using the bracket that was on the sitting on the side of the pump. The one that is let me see. The one that was mounted like so on those two sets, because this thing was actually pointing away, so I couldn't use it even with the brackets that I salvaged from the AC. Even with two of them, I couldn't reach what I wanted to reach. And plus, when you have all these points of sliding and whatnot, that means that, you know, engine vibration is gonna make it loose, and basically that's gonna go cattywampus pretty soon. Plus, I did not like the fact that all that was hanging off the front bolts of the water pump, which was not designed for that. So basically, you're kind of weakening up that spot, and plus that was already weakened with my doings here. So what I did tap and drill with the original spots with the sub-standard bolts. If you like, was supposed to be M8, or should I say number 8, and I end up with 6 millimeters. But because there was not that much meat inside of the thing, plus it's aluminum, plus the Harbor Freight tap and die set is blood pressure of 300 inducing. So, and come to think of it, the load on these two is actually not a pulling load, it's actually pushing load, because you're basically tightening on the belt. So I rearranged everything, grabbed the 1.1 liter engine off of its bracket, and as of right now, that looks okay. I'm kind of happy with it. I do not want to say anything else. So that side quest of me making the engine mounts ended up with that, but at least that's done. Deleted the AC, so no more AC for you. Sorry, bud, but it is what it is. I want to get you on the road. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, because the moment I say something in the range of the engine is in or anything like that, no, it will have to come out all over again. But my gamble with the deleting the AC has paid off. So I managed to put everything the way it should look like, I guess. So the passenger motor mount is in and secured. The transversal motor mount is in and secured on all 3 spots. And then the driver's side mount, the one that I cobbled together, I don't know what camera show. Yeah, that that atrocity is actually stuff that's made this whole happen. I had to use instead of the stock bolts, I had to use the one from the head bolt from that engine over there because reasons. Because hardware is extremely expensive now. Now for 2 bolts you're paying $5. It's crazy. So basically I reuse whatever I had, and even made a little bit of a motor mount, if you like, from the suspension parts. Yeah, and that bit right there, very proud of that. So it will soak up a little bit more vibration because right now the engine is rock solid. I mean, rock solid. So very happy about that. The only thing is, since I use the bolt, it's a little bit too, I guess, down on the size. I don't know. Only the sharp eye, and only if you look, you will actually be able to tell that the engine is still not in correctly. There's still a little bit of an angle, but I'm happy with that. That's less than 5%, 5 degrees, if you like. Again, only if you look from and if you know that that's crooked, you'll be able to tell. But yeah, height wise it's perfect. So position wise perfect. I'm gonna call it as of right now. So yeah, I know. Now I'm back onto the November of 2021 plan, if you like, because yeah, it took me so long to get here. It's June of 22, 6+ months. Good grief. And now we're gonna battle something called installation of the front suspension, installation of the gearbox shifter, if you like, because I need to drill the hole for the cable and I need to mount the third pedal. And then, only then, we're gonna find out if this engine actually works. Because, again, I bought it from the junkyard. It looks really muddy. It does have a decent compression on the turning, if you like, but that could mean nothing. So we'll see. So, saga continues, but this chapter looks like it's done, and I'm gonna hopefully not eat my words. Whew.